Hey everyone, I'm Shaylin here with Reedsy. Today let's talk about building an author platform. We have done a video in the past on using social media as a writer as well as one on building an author website, but today let's talk a little more broadly about creating an author platform. This is something people talk about more and more. Having an online presence as an author is becoming more and more important as a marketing tool. I've actually encountered a lot of writers who are kind of old school writers who were published, started publishing 20, 30 years ago, and a lot of them have said like, it's all about your platform now. Like, you try to publish a book and they ask you what your platform is. It is a somewhat recent phenomenon along with the rise of social media, but it is a really important factor in your potential marketing reach. So let's talk a little bit about how to start building your author platform. Step number one is to start now. Really, there is no time like the present. The thing with social media is that occasionally you catch a wave and grow really fast, but ultimately it is a game of patience. It can take a long time to build a presence on social media, so you might as well start now. Even if you're still writing your book and you have no idea when you're going to be publishing your book, you might as well start building your platform now. Personally, I started building my platform kind of by accident when I was 15. When I started doing book reviews. If I started trying to do that now, I would have missed out on years of time for my platform to grow. So you might as well start now. You can start really small. Even if just right after this you go and make a Twitter account, you have started. Step two is to decide what platforms you want to use. Now, most people are probably going to dabble in the main social media platforms. Twitter is a great one for writers. There's a huge writing and publishing community on Twitter. Instagram is, I think, statistically the most used social media platform, so it's another great place to start gathering an audience. Facebook is kind of fallen out of favor. Not as many people use it, but you can still use Facebook, especially if it's beneficial for your genre. For example, the romance genre has a pretty large community on Facebook. It's very likely you already have these platforms, but it might be worth creating a separate account specifically for your writing. However, you also want to think about whether there are any other platforms you might be interested in. For example, YouTube, or if you want to start a blog. The benefits of YouTube are that it's very personal and there is a growing community of authors here on YouTube. The downsides are that it requires a bit more of a tech side. You have to have the equipment to film and edit videos. And there's also just kind of a shyness factor to it, It can be really nerve-wracking to film a video. You might also be interested in starting a blog. A blog is a great option. Upsides of a blog are that it's a bit more comfortable than YouTube for a lot of people. You're just writing. There are a lot of different platforms that you can host a blog depending on what you think will work for you. You can just make a WordPress blog. You could go a route through Tumblr. It can be hard to grow a blog, but if you do it in conjunction with other social media, it's a great place to connect more with people and actually create original content. The next very important step is to connect with others. One of the best parts of having a platform personally is just that it allows you to connect with other people. See if there's a community that you can connect with. It's a great way to make friends in the writing community, people who could become critique partners of yours or beta readers of yours. You can help each other promote your work in the future. It'll make the whole thing seem less lonely, so it's a great personal experience, but it's also really helpful for actually growing your platform. If you and other people writing similar work or in a similar stage of your writing journey can work together to promote each other. Next, you want to think about how people will actually find your platform. On sites like Twitter or Instagram, you might use hashtags, you might promote your blog on your other social media, you might do a newsletter swap with another writer. Your platform is only as useful as it is visible. If no one is finding you and following you, you could have the best content ever, but it's not really going to do much for your actual marketing platform in the end. In order to be visible, you need to be relatively active and consistent. Study the algorithms of the platform you're using. So for example, if you've started a YouTube channel, look at the YouTube algorithm and how you can use it to your best advantage. For example, posting on consistent days and having an optimized title and description, so that your videos will be more likely to show up in other people's recommendeds. The next step, build a website as your hub. You might not need this right off the bat, but at some point, it's probably worth snagging your domain name and making yourself a website. On your website, you can have info about yourself, contact information, lists of any publication. You can host your blog there as well. You can put samples of your writing. It's a great place to just have everything in one place so that when people Google you, you seem like a real professional writer rather than just someone who tweets about writing occasionally. Once you have your platforms, or once you're planning out what you want to bring to your platforms, is to identify what original you can bring. You want to think about what you can do that other people aren't already doing. Why should people follow you when there are tons of other writers that they can follow? What are you going to do that's different and original, content that they can only find from you? If there's some kind of interesting ongoing series that you can start, even if it's just talking about your personal writing, your personal projects, your personal experience is something that only you can bring to the table. People connect really well with people on social media who are very honest and candid about their experiences. There's no reason to be afraid to say, I'm really struggling with my book right now, or this isn't going well. Talking about your frustrations and your difficulties can be actually very therapeutic, but it's also a great way for people to feel like they can connect with you and for you in turn to actually connect with your audience. Next up, you want to think about making a consistent brand, ideally one that is in line with your books. If you write kind of all across the board, it might be hard to have a specific aesthetic or brand that is related to all of your work. But if you can think of a theme that kind of encapsulates your work and also you as a person, try to build your theme around that. Use consistent profile pictures so people will recognize you across different platforms, or consistent usernames. If you're in a stage late enough where, say, you have cover art, you can use that to build your theme around, your channel banners around that. Or if you don't yet, try to just do something relatively cohesive. Even if you can create, whether yourself or by commissioning, a logo that you want to use across all of your platforms, just to give that extra cohesive touch so all of your platforms feel like they're coming from the same person and have kind of a consistent personality. You're trying to build a brand for yourself and also for your projects. So you might also want to adjust this based on your new releases. Say, redesign your website and your blog theme and your social banners in line with the next book that you have coming out. And finally, the last step is to listen to your audience. As you start to gain an audience, you'll start to also get feedback from them in terms of what content they engage with and really appreciate the most. It's great to listen to them and use that to create content that people will continue to engage with. If you make a post or a video or a tweet that people really engage with really well, create similar content to that or content that builds from that in the future. Similarly, if you make something that doesn't perform very well at all, it might just be a fluke, the algorithm wasn't on your side that day, but say you try it 2 more times and it's just a flop, that might be a sign for you that this type of content isn't a great use of your time. When in doubt, you can also always just directly ask people, what more would you like to see from me? What kinds of posts do you like to see? Is there anything that you want me to talk about? Listen genuinely to people's feedback to then create content that people will engage with more and more. So as a quick summary, you might as well get started building an author platform now, even if publication seems fairly distant for you at this point. Decide on which platforms you want to use and how you want to use them, and consider building a website as a central hub. When planning out your content, you want to think about what new you can bring to the writing community and how people will find your platform. You want to also think about creating a consistent brand that's in line with both your personality and general brand as an author, as well as with your specific project. As you build a platform, you also want to engage with those who are following you and those that you follow. Connect with other people and listen to your audience about what content they want to see in order to continue growing your platform. So those are some tips on building your author platform. Thank you so much for watching, and remember to subscribe for new writing, editing, and publishing videos every Tuesday and Friday. Until next time.